Fishing to me is not just a hobby, it's my passion and an integral part of my life. I'm so happy that years ago the old man taught me to fish at the tender age of 2. I now find myself in the same situation, but us as anglers have also got to make sure that we pass on the legacy of great fishing in our rivers to the next generation. It's very easy to see the important role anglers have to play in the preservation of stocks, and some skills are required to be passed on to new and old anglers alike to make sure that they fish sensibly and sustainably. The vast majority of anglers have been practicing sustainable, sensible and responsible angling for years, either returning all their catch or keeping the odd one for the table. Now recently we've seen legislation passed on 3 rivers in England and Wales where every fish must be returned. Now what does this mean to the river and to the angler? Well, I posed these questions to Rhys Llewellyn from the Environment Agency.
It means that for the next 10 years, anglers must release all salmon and sea trout caught in the rivers Wye, Taff and Ely with a minimum of delay and harm to the fish. But the reason for this is that salmon and sea trout stocks in these rivers have become perilously low. And to make sure the fishery gets all the help it needs, we're now requiring anglers to fish catch and release only. Now the alternative is closure of the fishery. It's a situation we want to avoid at all costs. We need to keep anglers on the riverbank. And if stocks recover sufficiently, then we will relax the restrictions.
Now Rhys, if it proves successful on the 3 rivers, is it something that will be rolled out throughout Wales and England?
While mandatory catch and release is very much a last resort as far as we're concerned, we want anglers to be releasing as many fish as possible, regardless of size, sex or time of year in all rivers. Now we're on the banks of the River Dee here, and it's our fear that this may be the next river where we have to introduce these measures if we don't see an improvement soon. Now, stocks of salmon and sea trout have been in decline in recent years, and we've got real concerns about their long-term future. And this will help ensure our fisheries improve over time and become more sustainable.
Rhys, is this the only way that we're going to get future stocks up in the rivers?
Absolutely not. This forms just a very small part of the jigsaw. In the meantime, we must continue with all the other work that we and our partners are doing to improve the quality of our rivers. For example, in the past 10 years, over 100 fish passes have been built across Wales, opening up over 1,000 kilometres of previously inaccessible salmon and sea trout spawning habitat.
Rhys, in the UK, we have this what I call limit mentality, where if there's a number set on the river, let's say it's 2 fish, people aren't happy unless they're taking 2 fish home. Whereas in other countries, catch and release is the norm, and even taking 1 fish is frowned upon. Why do you think there's this objection against catch and release in the UK?
Well, it's hard to say. Some say that the survival rates for released fish are low, but with a little bit of care and following the best practice guidelines, returning fish works, and it can be as inspiring for anglers as taking fish. Now, many anglers recall the halcyon days of the 60s and 70s when stocks were very healthy indeed, and perhaps old habits die hard. But most anglers recognise the need to show restraint, but we need to keep the pressure on during these uncertain times.
The Environment Agency are going out and actively encouraging catch and release. Can you tell me what are the do's and don'ts and the important guidelines when taking fish and putting them back into the river?
Well, the golden rules are: don't take the fish out of the water unless absolutely necessary, because the longer the fish is exposed to the air, the greater the risk of it dying. Then remove the hook as quickly as possible. That's why we use barbless hooks if we can. And then thirdly, give the fish time to recover while supporting it in the water facing upstream. Now in summer with high temperatures, it may take a little bit longer, so be patient.
So Rhys, we've talked a lot about catching and releasing, but even before you get out on the riverbank, there are a few things you need to do in preparation even before you go fishing. Now, on this stretch of the River Dee, it's not that big and you could probably cover it with a single-handed rod, but you probably struggle to land the fish quickly. So my weapon of choice, 14 foot. Now to those anglers out there, it's a 10-11. It's a very powerful outfit. So it means, you know, I can give that fish a lot of stick and get him in quite fresh so he recovers. The next thing is, you mentioned, debarb your flies or using barbless. Now a lot of anglers might be scared. They think, oh, I've got to replace all my flies.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that. This is just a tube fly. I've got a double, and it's very simple. We just compress the barb down. There you go, it's gone, and then do it on the second hook. So it's barbless. So that's the fly side of it. What about you, Rhys? You're spinning today, so what would you do?
Well, the same thing really, is nothing much different. Here, most lures these days, they tend to come with a treble. So all you have to do, you can cut one of those off. Well, if it's not too hard, there it goes, okay? So you've got there now a double. It doesn't affect the action of the lure at all. It works well, helps you to release the fish quickly. Then again, squeeze down the barbs exactly like you did. There they are. Done, okay? And then think about the net. If you are going to be using a landing net, make sure you've got one with a knotless mesh. It means there's no harm to the scales of the fish at all. And then think about, if you do hook a fish, where are you going to land it? Think about a nice area where you're not going to get into any trouble. It's easy and quick for you to get that fish away.
So basically talking planning, as soon as you hook, look around the bank.
Absolutely.
Now, we talked about fly, we've talked about spinner, but obviously some people like to go worm fishing. What are the golden rules there?
Well, you can debarb the hook in the same way, but there are now circle hooks on the market, and these hooks are designed to hook the fish right in the corner of the mouth, so it's very easy to unhook, so they don't ingest the hook and don't get it down into the gut.
Sometimes, things do happen. Fish do take the hook deep, whether it's a fly, whether it's a worm. So if that does happen, what would you suggest the angler does?
Quite simple, just cut it away. Make sure that you cut it away as close to the hook as you possibly can and let the fish go. That hook will rust away in a couple of days, and that fish can continue upstream and hopefully spawn and give us some more fish for the future.
Well, we've talked enough about it. Let's go fishing.
Come on. Go on, Hywel.
Well, Rhys, finally.
Who'd have believed it, eh, mate? Who'd have believed it?
Hey, third time down the run, as I hooked, just coming past that tree there.
Right.
So it just latched on.
Persistence, eh, well, persistence.
That's the thing with salmon, you've got to keep going, keep going. Right, I'm going to back up here a little bit. Try and get him. There we go. Rhys, you might have to come out a little. Oh, no, hold on. Watch it. Oh, he's turned. Yes!
In the net.
There you go, right?
I'm just going to take him in here.
Yeah.
Put the net between my legs. Right, you can see the fish here.
Oh, I tell you what, look at, hey, how lucky was that? Barbless hooks, they come out of the fish's mouth so easy.
Fantastic, fantastic. Right, I'm going to get him back into the current here now. Give him time to recover. Right.
Hey.
Oh,
ooh.
It's a lively one.
Tell you what, first salmon of the season, not bad.
Fantastic. He's got plenty of life in it.
That's it, that's the important thing. Get him into the net as quickly as possible.
Oh, there she is, she's off!
Well,
fantastic. Rhys, fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
Great netsman. And there's another fish away to live for another day.
Superb.